Forsaken. It's a survival horror game on Roblox in which the objective is to evade the killer until the timer goes down to 0. And Guest is one of the 9 survivor characters you can use in Forsaken. Guest probably has the highest skill cap in this entire game. He's the hardest to use. That's why I am here to guide you onto the core basics of Guest. Guest has 3 abilities. There's Punch, Block, and Charge. Getting the hang of these abilities are key to being the best Guest main. If you want to be effective with Guest, you should hear me yap about Guest for like 8 minutes straight if you want to. So, Guest's abilities. Block. Block is probably the ability that you'll need the most in Guest's moveset. It charges up your parry/punch, and it nullifies almost any damage. Though it doesn't nullify effects if it's a projectile, of course. I would not recommend using it while sprinting away from the killer, because most of the time the killer will miss their M1 due to your sudden stop. What I would recommend instead is to stop sprinting or stop completely during a chase. The problem with this is competent killers will see this as a setup for you to use your block ability. So they will just not attack you and punish you after the block. So if you apply a little bit of logic, you can trick competent killers by stopping sprinting or stopping completely, but you won't block, instead juking the killer. When they start to get comfortable, this depends on how long based on killers, of course. When they start to get comfortable, that's when you block, absolutely catching them off guard. As someone who hasn't mastered this tactic yet, I would argue that it's pretty hard to master. I've been using this tactic for a month and I'm still not that good at it. Moving on, Guest's charge ability. At first, this might seem a very useless move/ability. Actually, it's very useful if I say so myself. This ability has saved me multiple times in the past. It's either from a 1X about to mass infection me, or a John Doe about to impale me with spikes, or a cool kid about to burn me alive with their walk speed override. Because right after landing a successful charge, you get resistance 5, nullifying all of the damage that will be taken, though not all the status effects, of course. So by taking advantage of that resistance that you get right after the charge, you can nullify damage, effectively saving your life in some scenarios, of course. If you're trying to use charge to get away from the killer, it won't work because of the slowness debuffs right after. So no, you won't be able to charge away from the killer. Now, I will be splitting the punch ability into 2 different parts. The punch and the parry parts. Let's start off with punching. There's only 2 ways you could have ended up with a punch instead of a parry. First, your situation was too bad to use parry, or you just chickened out. Well, no matter, you can still use some of these techniques with the punch. If you didn't know, you can cancel the charge ability mid-charge using a punch or a parry. By using this, you can take great distance by pretending to charge into the killer, but actually punching them in the face instead. Or you can go hide behind the corner and surprise them with a punch in the face, of course. Now, let's move on to parry. Parrying is one of the basic necessities to know as guest. A parry happens when you use your punch right after you block. And this is actually much better than a punch because parry deals 35 damage and stuns longer. Instead of 2 seconds, it's 3.5 seconds. But if your reaction time is a little too slow and you can't punch right after you block, like I just did in the screen, right there, it's probably because you're on mobile or you just have a slow reaction time. The killer, if it's a competent killer, will sidestep your parry and punish you for it. Face it. Now, moving on to last man standing. Last man standing on guest is probably the hardest thing you would do in the entirety of the game. Unlike any other character, except for 007 and 7, you have to play 4D chess with the killer to see who can outsmart each other. And of course, predict each other better. You can use the tactic I said when we were on the block ability. Juke until they get comfortable and then block. In Last Man Standing, you have to use every single tool, ability, utility that you have at your disposal to the best of their abilities. If you don't, you might as well be dead. The thing about guests, not only during Last Man Standing, but any other phase of the game too, is that if you miss a block near the killer, you might as well be dead due to the amount of damage they will do right after. Of course, I said that back in the block. I think so. I don't know. So you better make them comfortable with trying to hit you when you're juking. If not, you might as well be dead. Try to get on cliffs because with the charge ability, you can knock them off cliffs and stop. That will make you have great distance against the killer and you. But if you randomly just charge into the killer for no reason, that will close the distance between you and the killer, which you do not want. You want to gain distance. It's better to be safe than look flashy with parrying. That is all that I know about Guess 1337. Comment down below if you think that I'm wrong. I will try to reply as soon as I can. So please, hit the like and subscribe button because my 100 subscribers special is me singing any song you guys want. Though it may be bad, of course. Anyways, bye-bye.